This week on Somos Lehigh Valley, we welcome mortgage loan originator and restaurant entrepreneur Shayna Mora. And all new Somos starts now.
This is your Lehigh Valley, where your success reaches new heights. Excellence isn't achieved by chance. Success requires vision, commitment, flexibility. Change brings opportunity. The opportunity to think and work different, better. This space offers solutions and resources you'll love, with a world-class vibe that's close to home. There's nothing ordinary about this space. Here is where you'll achieve the extraordinary. This is your Lehigh Valley. This is your VentureX.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Somos Lehigh Valley, where a podcast is presented by the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and VentureX here in Bethlehem. As you'll notice today, I have back with us, by public acclaim, our co-host, Leslie Lopez, everybody.
Hi.
Hey, Leslie. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. What have you been up to since I know that the last time that you were on here, we talked about, a few things that you were working on, but what have you been up to lately?
Really just working. That's it.
Just working. Give that woman some applause because she's a hard worker.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
That's me.
Yes. Well, on today's episode, we have a very special guest that we're going to be talking to today. She is a loan originator as well as an entrepreneur. Her name is Shayna Mora. Shayna, welcome on to the podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thanks for joining us. I know we kind of put the interview together kind of last minute, so I'm glad that you were able to kind of step in and join us for what I'm sure is going to be a very interesting conversation about your career, about what you do, how you help people in the community achieve the dream of obtaining a home, but also a little bit about a business that you started. Yeah. It's so cool that we have people in the community who have like a full 9-to-5, right? But then also pursue kind of like, businesses on the side. So That's pretty cool. But before we get into all of that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you come from, so that we can get to know you a little bit better.
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Shayna Mora. I'm Dominican and Puerto Rican. My mom's Dominican.
Hold on. You're Dominican and Puerto Rican, so you get one of those.
Yeah.
All right.
My father's Puerto Rican. They were born in the United States. So I was born in New York, in Queens, born and raised. I moved to Pennsylvania back in 2010, I would say, and pretty much been here ever since.
Okay. So 2010, so you've been here for a good, 14 years?
Yeah.
Right? Awesome. So you've seen a lot of change with the area. And, I remember one of the things that was kind of my complaint about the Lehigh Valley when I first moved here, especially coming from New York, is that there weren't a lot of things to do.
Yes.
So how did you deal with that? Like the fact that, that huge lifestyle change between New York and the Lehigh Valley?
Honestly, it wasn't hard to adjust. I like the calm. I like the peace. Things have gotten a little livelier here throughout the years. But when I originally moved here, I did like the peace. I was a teenager, so it's not like I was doing anything crazy. But I definitely enjoyed that. Like I always say, my mom still lives in New York, but I would never move back. The traffic, the people, I do. But then it's like, I want to come home.
You're like, I'm over it. I want to go back home.
Yeah, it's just like when you get used to a safe place, like a peace, it's hard to go back to chaos. New York, as much as I love it, I was born and raised there. I would never forget where I came from. However, it is a little hectic. And now that I have children, I do appreciate the change a lot more.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. Like when you settle down and you have a family, places like New York become less attractive for you to raise, your kids. So
absolutely.
What was it about the Lehigh Valley in particular that kind of made you interested in coming to move to live here?
So nothing really in particular, to be completely
that's fine.
honest.
That's perfectly fine.
I came. My mom sent me over here to live with my aunt to finish up school because the schools over there are not as great. This was several years ago, also. So this was before things got a little chaotic here as well. But the school, when I went to school here, it was a huge change, but it was a lot easier to get accustomed to. The main reason I came back to Pennsylvania is because I met my fiance. So we've been together
A love story.
since 2010. So that's the reason why I came back to the Lehigh Valley.
Leslie, don't be shy. I know you got a million questions that you want to ask. So feel free to jump in.
What school did you go to when you came here?
I actually went to William Allen.
William Allen.
Yeah.
Okay. And you met
The Canaries?
your husband.
The Canaries? Is that the mascot?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you met your husband there at school?
So I didn't meet him at school. I met him through a friend. So one of my really good friends, Chelly, she was dating his cousin. So that's how I ended up. As I was really quiet in school. She was one of my first friends. As I started hanging out with her more, that's how I met him.
Aw,
So
that's so cute.
Yeah. So you meet your fiance in high school. Talk to me about how we go from moving to the Lehigh Valley to getting involved with becoming a loan originator.
yes, absolutely. So I moved to Lehigh Valley. This became my new home. I did have my first daughter back in 2011. I was looking for a job. I had applied. It was back then Gateway Funding, mortgage company, and I became the receptionist. I was the only person besides Jeannie Pies, which I can get into her a little bit later.
Shout out to Jeannie.
Yes.
Hold on. There you go, Jeannie. You get your flowers.
So we were the only two Spanish-speaking people in that office. So at the time, the market for Spanish-speaking people was very underserved. There wasn't as many loan originators doing the Spanish-speaking clientele, per se. So she was like the hot dog, that she was just taking care of everyone. She would always push me like, Shayna, listen, you need to become a loan officer. And I'm like, I don't think I'm ready for that. Because I just seen all the things they had, like, that was involved. I just felt like I wasn't prepared at the moment for it. Mm-hmm. So she's like, no, you have to do this. Trust me, you're going to be such a great loan officer. So after 3 years, this was in 2013, after 3 years, I decided to get my license. I got licensed. I've been licensed since 2016. I started doing back-end operations work. I was a LOA for several years, just learning all the ins and outs until I felt prepared to become a full-on loan originator. I was Jeannie's assistant along with several other LOs, and I was just trying to grasp, I was learning. I was trying to grasp the things that I wanted to be and everything in between. So it kind of helped me build the loan officer that I am today. I took all the good, all the bad, and like, okay, this is who I want to be. This is how I want to do things. So then Gateway Funding became Finance of America. Finance of America, then I've stayed with them for several years. They dissolved their retail division, so we went over to Go Mortgage. It didn't quite work out for me in Go Mortgage. But at the time, Jeannie, full circle moment, she opened her own branch. And Jeannie, I love her and I trust her wholeheartedly. And she's like, she's always told me, like, I've always have a space for you. When you're ready, come. So in that moment, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm ready. So I decided to join her team, and here I am today with Cross Country Mortgage,
Awesome.
the Pies Colazo team.
Yeah, how long have you been with her?
So it's going to be a year in August since
year.
she's opened her own branch.
Nice.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, And I'll be honest, I'm one of them. What is the difference between a loan originator and a mortgage officer?
So it is the same thing.
Okay.
So it is the same thing. There's just several different, some people say mortgage advisor, some people say loan officer, loan originator. It is the same thing. So a mortgage officer, loan officer, we are financial advisors. We do have to be licensed. What we do is we basically screen you, take applications, make sure you are qualified for the product that you loan program that you are trying to achieve. So it's our job to make sure before you go try to look and buy houses that you are qualified to do so, not breaking the bank, making sure you can actually afford it, not getting into something that you can't withhold or attain.
So let's get into a hypothetical. We've got Leslie with us, right? And Leslie has decided that she wants to buy a house of her own. What are the steps that you would go through with her?
So the way I do my process is I don't do pre-qualifications. I do you have to do an application. I need the documentation so that I can fully verify what I'm saying.
So let's just stop there for a second. You don't do pre-qualifications. I've heard that there are people who do them. So
Yes.
why is it that you don't do them?
So the reason I don't do it is because you can put anything in an application and you can put, hey, I make $1 million without someone actually verifying that. If you go shopping, it can put you in a really bad spot. If you go shopping, if you go under contract and the information that you put into your application is just hearsay pretty much, since you haven't supplied any documentation supporting what you say, you can either lose your deposit because if you go under contract.
That's non-refundable if it can't be verified later on?
So the problem is that when it can't be verified, it disqualifies you.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah. So let's say, and the reason I say that is because if you apply for a mortgage and you say you make $1 million, and when you're already under contract, woohoo, everyone's excited, you're already investing money into this transaction. When it comes time to verify your income, you only make $40,000 and you just applied for a $500,000 house. Like, how is that going to work?
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious because you keep hearing all these stories about like the market crash, back in 2008. Is that kind of what was happening back then? Were people like just putting all kinds of crazy numbers and
people weren't verifying? Like back then, it was a lot easier to get a mortgage because you didn't. That's why now there's so many requirements and they're very strict on their guidelines and the requirements. Because back then, when that happened, a lot of houses went underwater because people were buying houses they couldn't actually afford.
Yeah.
So that was the big problem. So all these regulations came into place to avoid that because there were so many foreclosures, so many people losing their homes. So they kind of had to we have to put a process in place. We need to start verifying these documents because there were so many loans going delinquent because of it. So the banks were also losing money because they were lending all this money to people that really couldn't afford them.
Yeah. So you fast forward, from the housing crisis, to 2016, 2017, all of a sudden the Lehigh Valley is becoming like this market where people really want to come in and buy houses. So how much of an increase? I mean, did you see like a drastic increase as far as people coming here and looking for homes?
Oh, absolutely. In the Lehigh Valley, it's grown tremendously and it's still growing day by day. So many people are coming out. I feel like with the economy, it's really hard, especially like in New York. It's really hard to be able to attain like a good job and be able to afford just living there, let alone buying a house. It's a huge investment. It does require a lot of money. And a lot of people, like what I have been seeing lately, is a lot of people work in New York, stay with those good jobs, and then they want to move out here because the lifestyle, the income-wise, you can get a lot more for your money here. So it kind of makes sense. Even though the commute is like 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes, people are willing to do it because with the trains and the MTA over there, sometimes it actually takes people that long to get to a job that they live in New York too. As well.
And you said that when you started doing this, that people didn't really speak Spanish, like doing what you were doing.
Yeah.
Do you think that has changed now? Like, are more people doing what you do, speaking Spanish, helping other people? Like, are there more Hispanic people that are like more knowledgeable about all this?
Yes, absolutely. So Spanish-speaking loan officers has increased tremendously, which is amazing to see because that was one of the main reasons I became a loan officer. The market was extremely underserved. There wasn't even Spanish-speaking material. There wasn't anything translated. Right now, we still don't have like full-on disclosures in Spanish. I'm hoping in the future they do work on that.
So how do they navigate that? Does a loan officer just kind of sit down and kind of talk to somebody about what's on there?
Well, a good loan officer would, just so that there's complete transparency in people. These, like I said, this is a huge investment, and there's a lot of
biggest financial investment a lot of people are going to make in their life.
Absolutely, and this is like life-changing for some people. So I'm the kind of loan officer that I want you to completely understand. I don't want to get to the closing table and you have no idea what you just signed, or you have no idea what you got into.
So you translate like mostly everything that's on this stuff?
Yes,
Oh, wow.
I do.
Okay.
Yep. And there are people that don't do that. And that's why I say like the market is completely underserved. Not to say there aren't great loan officers, but when there's a language barrier, it's really hard for someone to understand, or for you to know, like, okay, did you get that? Sometimes especially in our Latin community, they're like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
and just
they're
sign
just so
stuff.
happy.
Yeah.
They're just so happy you're giving him the keys,
Exactly.
right?
They're
like,
just
hurry up and
happy.
sign before they take it away.
Exactly. They're like, okay, no take backs. But it's something that you have to be extremely thorough with. And with the language barrier, you need Spanish-speaking loan officers to be able to completely explain everything that they're getting into. I have people that still call me from 2 years ago, like, hey, what's this? Because they just don't understand. And without the help, without the guide, it's hard for people to like stray away, per se. It's like they're gonna always come back to you because you did your job, you did your part, and it's like, okay, this person helped me. They completely explain everything, and that's where your business comes from too. The referral business is huge in the real estate industry. So the better you do your job, the more that it's gonna come back full circle for you.
Mm-hmm. Are there plenty of loan officers that don't just speak Spanish, but like other languages, like Chinese?
Well, I got to think that there's probably like a huge, influx of Syrian as well,
Yeah,
because you have a lot of
that too.
Syrian folks in the Lehigh Valley as well.
So I have seen there are loan officers that also speak Syrian to help with their communities. So it's like give or take. For me, it's like being a loan officer is who you mix with. Being is who you click with. Even with Spanish speaking people, there are Spanish speaking clients that sometimes I wouldn't be a good fit for, but there's somebody else that would. And that's just, I feel like that's the way people have to take it. It's not like competition. It's not like, it's who's going to be able to serve the client to the best of their ability.
Yeah. So
For the client.
So here's a question for you. I feel that when I first came to the Lehigh Valley about 20 years ago, it was primarily Puerto Rican and Dominican,
Yes.
right? That's who lived here. But over the past 20 years, you see a lot more Mexican, Salvadorian, Guatemalan, Brazilian, right? So have you experienced this challenges yourself? Being Caribbean, have you experienced challenges with customers that might be from Central America or South America in terms of understanding some of the challenges that they face?
So I wouldn't say that I pretty much like I have a challenge. I understand everyone. I try to be as understanding and then I like to listen to people. So I like to listen to what you want and try to work to your needs. Because at the end of the day, you're the one going through this process. I know this process. I don't need it to be explained to me.
Right.
But I need you to let me know what's the best way to explain it to you so that you fully understand what it is that you're getting into. I did one time have someone come to me that spoke Portuguese. Portuguese, although it can sound like Spanish, they're
It's not the same
completely
thing. Yeah.
opposite.
Yeah.
And at that point, they didn't speak English either. It was just slowly Portuguese. At that point, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to get you someone who actually speaks this language because it's gonna be an issue. Like somebody else would be like, oh, of course, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
And
But you're looking out for their best interests.
exactly, because I feel I wouldn't want if I just spoke another language and there was such a huge language barrier and I'm not understanding what I'm getting into. It's like, I don't know what I'm signing. I don't know what's going to happen. No one's explaining anything to me because there's such a huge language barrier. So I prefer you get someone who's going to understand you and communicate with you versus me just trying to get the deal.
Yeah.
Makes
So,
sense.
yeah. That Portuguese client, I'm like, wait, hold on. I'm like, wait, what did you say? Like, and then he's like, you don't speak? And I'm like, no, I speak Spanish, but we're going to have to try to get you someone who can speak your language so that you fully understand this whole process.
Yeah.
Because it's some people, especially when there's a language barrier, need their hand held throughout the process. They need step-by-step guidance. Some people don't have the patience for it, but it's at the end of the day, it's what's best for the client.
Yeah. So Shayna, you were at this point balancing being a mom, and being a loan officer, and then the pandemic happens in 2020, right? And we're all in a situation where we're all sitting at home. And what does Shayna do? Shayna's not sitting idly by. So tell us about what it is that you decide to do when the pandemic hits.
So when the pandemic hit, we have like a very close-knit, me and my fiance have a very close-knit group of friends. So once a week we would do like a family dinner, we would call it, so that we can just all get together. Obviously it's COVID, everyone's like in their caves, isolated. So we just wanted to be able to see each other. So once a week in everyone's household, we would do a family dinner, just catch up on life, just be in each other's presence. And my friend Gina, she's one of my really good friends. She's like, Shayna, she's like, did you ever see these birria tacos that are viral? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I have no idea. I'm not big on TikTok, so I didn't understand. She's like, let me send it to you. So she sends me this video, and I'm like, all right, we'll make this for the next family dinner.
So what is a birria taco? Just so we can level set here.
So a birria taco is a taco that comes with a dipping broth. It's called a consomme. The consomme is the broth that the meat cooks in. So traditionally in Mexico, authentic birria tacos are actually made with goat. People don't know that, but they're not made with beef or chicken, but they're made with goat. So obviously it's a lot harder. Not everyone eats goat. So we made beef ones. And it's basically meat that you season with chiles, seasoning of your choice. And it's slow cooked for several hours until the meat is completely tender and it just is able to shred. It cooks in the broth a bit. Then the tacos, what you do with the tortilla shells, you dip them in the broth, and then you put them on the flat top, the fryer. You put cheese, put your meat, and then you top it off with onions and cilantro. You top it off with onions and cilantro.
That sounds so
Yeah.
good.
Oh my God. It's I'm tired of it now.
You love chiles, right? So
Yeah, exactly. Like I love Mexican food.
So that's one thing I definitely want to say. Obviously I'm not Mexican. Our restaurant isn't authentic Mexican. Mm-hmm. It's Mexican inspired. So we call it a Latin fusion, because with the birria tacos, we kind of twisted it and made our own recipe to our own liking. So one thing I will say, like the tacos are dipped in the grease. I lightly coat them because I don't want a full greasy taco, and that's my preference. But obviously, a lot of people like it that way. So we've had tremendous success, and I'm extremely grateful. So when this happened, my friends were like, you should sell it. And I'm like, I'm not selling this. Like, I already have enough. It's it's the middle of COVID. Yeah. Like, I'm working.
Got a million other things I got to do.
My kids are home. They're doing online learning and stuff. They're like, no, you have to do this. Then little by little, I started getting like DMs on Instagram. Like, hey, are you selling this? And I'm like, I'm not, but I guess maybe I should. So my fiance is like, he goes to Restaurant Depot, gets packaging and all this stuff. And he's like, all right, you get off at 5. Let's start selling at 5:30. We'll end the sale at 7.
He was on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was
Clockwork.
like, let's do this. Our partners, his cousin Chris and his wife Lena, amazing people. They were like, let's do it. For's a team. And we started cooking out of my house. catering out of my house. We would just do time slots. It got so crazy. Like there was a line of cars outside of my house,
wow.
Ordering, waiting for orders. We were eventually able to save enough money to get a physical location. So we opened our first location in Allentown, Pennsylvania, in Hamilton, and it went tremendously well. It was crazy because we've never been restaurant owners. We aren't chefs. So it was definitely something new. But it was a blessing. It was a blessing in disguise. And one day my fiance drove by, it used to be a restaurant named Cole.
Yep.
Right on Broad Street. He saw that they had closed their doors. So he's like, I want that spot. He's like, we need to get that spot. And I'm like, are you crazy? We just opened. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, listen, it's I know.
And not for nothing. I mean, the spot on Hamilton was okay.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more foot traffic, on Broad Street.
In Broad Street.
Everyone's walking through
Exactly.
there.
And it was our vision.
Yeah.
Hamilton was great, but it wasn't our end game. We knew we wanted more. He's like, listen, the place wasn't even for rent yet. And I don't know how, but he found the building owner's name and he's like, listen, I need this spot. Like,
Wow.
it was crazy.
He just went for it.
He went for it, and it ended up all working out. So we moved our restaurant from Allentown to Bethlehem, and it's just been amazing ever since. I can't say how blessed we are. When we moved there, like the energy, everyone just coming in, so many different people. We meet so many different clients, and it's just amazing.
So these are Dominican / Puerto Rican inspired tacos.
And Colombian, because my partner is Colombian.
Oh, wow.
She's Colombian. Yeah.
Wow.
So
So talk to me about the Colombian element of it. Like what? How do you include that?
So it's just pretty much, it's all in the seasoning. So the way we season everything that we have in the restaurant, everything is to a T. We create recipes so that it's always the same. But me and her sat down, brainstormed. So a lot of the recipes is just homemade. We made them. Our sauces, homemade. We sat there. We tested things. We're like, okay, this works. This doesn't. She put her twist to them. I put mine. And we kind of just fused it. Latin fusion.
And what's like your most popular dish there?
So the tacos are definitely one of the biggest things, the beef tacos. Also, our loaded fries are starting to get, our birria loaded fries are starting to get super popular. Our sampler platter comes with birria empanadas, egg rolls, and 2 tacos.
Ooh.
Birria empanadas?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did you
man.
make that up?
So we just, honestly, when we opened and we were trying to make our vision for the menu, we started dabbling. There are tons and tons of birria restaurants, and they all have different versions of everything.
Oh, okay.
The difference is with our empanadas, we like load them up.
Wow.
Nice.
So birria tacos. And you mentioned that it's kind of like a Latin fusion. I feel like in the Lehigh Valley, we have a lot of restaurants like that where it's not one thing, or maybe it's a certain food done by somebody from a different nationality.
Yeah.
Like what has that been like? Like, have you had, like, for example, like when Mexican people come in to the restaurant, like what how do they feel about that?
So it can go either way. I mean, when we're talking about food, not everyone has the same palate, not everyone has the same taste. So we have people that come from a Mexican background that they completely love our tacos. And then there's other people that are like, wait, this is not
They're like,
authentic.
órale, esto no.
They're like, this is not authentic.
Like how would they say that? Like disapproval in Mexico? Like what would that sound like?
They'd be like, I know. Así no es.
Así no es. Así no es.
Well, I can tell you there's a lot of repeat customers. And obviously when people come back, it's because they enjoy the food.
Yeah, my mom and dad really like it there. So, and they're fully Mexican.
Yeah.
So
Also, applause for
they
that.
approve.
Yeah.
They go with their friends.
Oh, that's awesome. And I love when people come back because it just makes us feel like, okay, we're doing something right.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've noticed, and I think that this has been a story with the news lately, is that there are a lot of restaurants in the Lehigh Valley that, are not doing very well right now. It's a challenging time to be a restaurant owner because of, the rising costs of supplies and all these things, rents, all these different things. How have you guys been able to navigate some of the challenges that come along with having a restaurant right now?
So honestly, right now we've been super blessed. We're doing good, but that doesn't mean to say we haven't had our challenges, that we haven't struggled to get where we are.
Yeah.
It did take us several months to be able to even open that new location, which definitely hit us hard. However, right now with restaurants, it is challenging because the cost, I'm sure you guys see it, you go food shopping and the cost is extremely high.
Yeah.
So
Mickey D's is not a cheap option anymore.
It's not. And honestly, right now we live in a time that it actually probably costs less to eat out than to eat at home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's hard. We do have people that complain, like, your prices are too high. And it's not that we're not trying to be greedy. It's just for us to be up and running, we have to kind of adjust with the economy. Unfortunately, that means increasing our costs, but it's because it costs a lot more to be able to run our business, pay employees, be able to pay for inventory, be able to pay for the space. So it's like you kind of have to adjust. A lot of restaurants, unfortunately, have, had to close or, limit their hours. And it does suck because I feel like our logo is food is happiness. I feel like food is something that always brings people together. And I pray that doesn't happen to us. I hope the momentum keeps coming. I hope the clients keep enjoying our food because we really love what we created.
Yeah.
So
do you guys ever do like festivals? Like, do you go to like outdoor events and things like that where for the community, or are you just primarily focused on serving at your location?
So right now it's serving at our location because one of the challenges that we do have is work. A lot of people, like I said, the economy is hard. So with restaurant workers, you're not going to make what you make at a warehouse or working having all this overtime and stuff. So it's a bit harder and challenging to find staff. So sometimes we are short-staffed. We have to fill in. There's 4 of us. It's me, my fiance Joelle, our partners Lena and Chris. Luckily, we have such a great support team that we can all just hop in and help, and I feel like that helps us a lot. And
everybody knoes how to do all the different things.
Everybody's so
right?
versatile.
Yeah.
Like I'll go in and I'll be in the front. I'm not good to not do anything. If I gotta clean the bathroom, I'm gonna clean the bathroom. If I gotta hop on the flat top, I'm gonna hop on the flat top and cook. If I have to serve, if I have to bus tables. And I feel like we're all like that. So that has been very uplifting in our venture with the restaurant because we all are willing to put the work in.
And question, have you ever worked at a restaurant before? Like when like as a teenager, like did you ever get that experience or was this?
So I worked for a couple months at Nova restaurant.
Okay. Yeah, on 4th Street.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did work there for a couple months. So I did get some like serving experience.
Okay.
So but chef-wise, cooking, none. But I love to cook. I love to cook. Good. Food is my love language. So
hey, listen, you had 14 years of experience in a restaurant because you have a daughter. So a daughter, right?
I have 2. Yes.
2 daughters.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So you definitely have more than enough experience preparing food every day. So.
My thing is, I have the multitasking experience. So and the willingness. Honestly.
And you're juggling business. You're juggling business here that belongs to you, but you're also juggling a business that is somebody else's.
Exactly.
So all of that serves to help you, as you're looking to build your own. So on that same track, what are some of the most important lessons that you've learned, from your time being a lone originator that have helped you as an entrepreneur?
Patience, willingness to learn, educating yourself, also just taking a step back and really listening, because you can learn so much just by being quiet sometimes. And I appreciate all the little things and all the different people. The restaurant business, you meet so many different people, so many different personalities, as well as being a lone originator. So just being able to communicate with people, understanding, listening, my willingness, my drive, it all pretty much goes hand in hand. So I can use what I learned being as a loan originator and apply it to being a business owner as well. So it's pretty good.
Awesome.
The lessons I've learned have always...
If there's I guess a piece of advice that you could offer to someone right now who is an entrepreneur, kind of struggling with their business, discouraged because it's not going the way that they want it to go, what would that advice be?
So my advice would be don't give up. So we currently work with, I'm not sure if you guys know him, Sam Del Rosario.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Lehigh Valley's a small place, so you get to know everybody.
He works for Keller Williams Real Estate. He has the Sam Del Rosario group, and
I'm going to stop you right there. I love the fact that you guys support each other.
Oh, absolutely.
I love that. I mean, it's not about, it's my team or whatever. No, you guys support each other. Yeah.
He's such a great, I would say life coach.
Awesome.
He's so knowledgeable. And he coached us one time and he was explaining something to me. And it's this chart. And it's basically, you can reach the valley of despair. So what you decide, no matter what you choose to do in life, there's always going to be this first stage, you're excited, you know what you're going to do. It's like, okay, you have all this hype. The second one is like, okay, maybe I don't know everything. I need to learn more and educate myself. And then you have the valley of despair, which is when things don't go as planned or you have to learn. So when you reach that point, sometimes people are like, this is too much, I'm going to give up. And they leave it alone. Or you can persevere and you're going to learn, do what you have to do, and you start climbing back up to that point of success. What I took from that is no matter what you do, if you quit this job, you're going to have to go get another job.
Yep.
And you're going to have to learn through those steps how to get to that point of success again. So my biggest thing is don't give up. If you feel like you can't do it, find a way, try, look for help. The thing is, I feel like people are so scared to ask for help. Especially, we live in this generation, everyone sees everyone else as competition. Not everyone is willing to help. But there are people out there that they want to see you win, even if, you're seen as their competition. And I feel like people need to get out of that shell and meet other people, meet like-minded people, just like here. Support is huge, and it's free. It doesn't really cost you anything to support somebody.
Yeah, and talking about support, the businesses around your restaurant, VirriaHolic, are they supportive? Do you guys talk to each other?
So we do here and there. A lot of them do come to us, come eat.
Oh, nice.
And we love to go try different things. I'm not a person that sees anyone as competition. I feel like there's enough food for everyone to eat in either one of my businesses.
Not everybody eats the same thing every day, too.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So it's like you can learn. Okay, what am I doing? What am I not doing that they're successful doing the same thing?
Yeah.
So that's when you want to ask questions. Sometimes people aren't going to be so receptive to that, but it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt for guidance,
Yeah, of course.
So that's just where I'm at. I'm like, listen, I'm a super supportive person. Listen, if that's what you want, don't give up on your dreams. Keep going, keep moving. You're always gonna, no matter what you try to do, you're gonna reach that point of the valley of despair, as per se. You're gonna always be there, but you just gotta find the way to get out and move forward. See the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrats. Yeah. So before we hop out here, one of the ways that we support people is by giving you a chance to plug your socials and all that stuff. So if somebody's looking for a home and they need to connect with you, and they need to get their loan situation figured out, how can they connect with you for loan origination?
For loan origination, best way is my cell phone. My cell phone is on 24/7. Also, I'm on social media, Shayna Mora on Facebook. Also, email. All depends. WhatsApp, because
right.
with our Latin community,
that's how people do it. WhatsAppéame.
Yeah. But
They turned it into a verb.
Yeah, it's like
WhatsAppéame.
I had to dodownload it because of my grandpa years ago. So
well, our Hispanic community,
Yeah.
God bless them. It's like they get on top of anything that makes it easy to communicate. Because when WhatsApp came up, it's like, what you mean I could talk to you and I don't have to call long distance? Like, yeah.
I can send you a voice note and I don't have to actually call you.
A video and all of that. Yeah. All right. So as far as BirriaHolic, if somebody wants to, see what you're making, like how can they connect with you there on socials?
So we are on Instagram, BirriaHolic. We're also on Facebook. We also have TikTok.
I
You
was
can
gonna
follow
ask
us.
because I was like, I bet you guys make like cool videos of like
Yes.
dunking the birria.
Yeah,
the
we have
TikTok.
a bunch of different videos on all platforms. Our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So if anybody wants to follow us, see what we're about, see what we're serving, definitely follow us.
We are going to be scheduling. I think that we need to get on this. We need to schedule like a summer tour where we go to all these restaurants because it's like a couple of weeks ago we talked about our friends here up the street, and now we're talking about BirriaHolic.
Yeah.
Next week we have another restaurant owner coming, so we're gonna have to do like a world tour of all these
Vlog.
amazing
Yes,
restaurants that we have in the Lehigh Valley.
Listen, social media is so powerful right now.
It sure
so
is.
it's definitely something. Do a tour. If you post it, that's a great way to support also all different types of restaurants.
The walking taco tour.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Damn.
That's a
There we
great
go.
idea. Let me know because I want to join.
The walking taco tour. Well, Shayna, thanks again for joining us
Of
today
course.
on Somos Lehigh Valley. Thank you to all of you for joining us and being a part of this episode. As always, it's brought to you by the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and our friends here at VentureX, where we remind you, Somos Familia. So everybody have a great week. We'll see you next time here on Somos Lehigh Valley.